Hi everybody and welcome back. My name is Alison, the online piano and the online violin tutor. Today is another violin review that I'm going to be doing, and this one is the Mendini MV300 by Cecilio. Go and have a check out of my other violin reviews that I've done. The link will be all underneath. If it's not in a playlist, I might list them individually, but I've done a few Cecilio violin reviews now amongst some others as well if you want to go and have a look at them. So they're all in the description bar down below underneath the video, so go and click on those links and have a look at them. So this one is retailing at the moment on Amazon.com for, so I'm just having a look at my computer screen that I've got over here, $62.92, so 63 if you like dollars, which is for the UK about 40 odd pounds, something like that, which is really cheap. This comes with, obviously you get the case, it comes with a violin bow, it comes with some rosin, you just get their kind of Cecilio type strings, and it comes with a shoulder rest as well, which is really good because sometimes those retail for about, like in the UK, they're about 20 odd quid for a shoulder rest. So it's great that it comes with those. This is aimed at a complete beginner violinist, so it's great if you've got a very tight budget. So $62, well, £40 in the UK, $60 isn't very much for the UK, at least anyway, for a violin with a complete, you know, setup and everything. So yeah, this is aimed at complete beginners. So what I'm going to do is just play you a few little samples to see what you think, so you can hear the sound of it, and then I should go through some pros and cons. So there's just a few little samples there. I tried to play something in the middle, tried to play something up high, tried to play something down low for you so you can hear the varying tones there. So the pros of this violin, well, the price. I think the price is absolutely amazing. To get an entire violin setup for $63 or 40 odd quid, I think is absolutely amazing. I probably wouldn't normally suggest that somebody would go out and spend $60 or 40 quid on a violin, just at the risk of just getting something that's really nasty. But having said that, for the price, I've got to be honest, this isn't quite as bad as I thought it was going to be. When I looked at the price first, before I looked at the violin, I thought, oh, it's quite cheap, isn't it? But actually, it's a really, really good violin for 60 quid. You know, it's I've read a few reviews that have been on Amazon.com, and some people haven't liked them and everything, but it's $60. So I think for $60, it is absolutely brilliant. I've played on a lot worse for the same amount of money and more as well. So this doesn't have any scratch on it at all. It's a very smooth violin. As you can probably tell, I wasn't hitting any of the strings as I was playing away. I tried to play something on the G string as well, and I wasn't hitting the D string as I was going up. The E string it was playing quite nicely on as well. It wasn't kind of really forceful or, you know, just horrible sounding right up in the top area here. So that was really nice. What else? Yeah, it's quite smooth, clean and clear. They're probably the main points that you would look for in a beginner violin. You want as least amount of scratch as you possibly can, because when you're learning, you're going to be quite scratchy, let's face it. It's just part and parcel of sort of playing the violin. So if the violin is adding scratch to the mix as well, I mean, it's just a recipe for disasters. yeah, so that's probably it for the pros. The cons, I suppose, the main thing that struck me was probably just the look of the violin. I try never to look at the look of the violin, if you like, just because it's the sound that I'm going on. When I was trying out for my violin that I have now, my professional one, I must have tried about 25 violins over about 4 or 5 hours, and I didn't want to know the price of any of them. They were all in the price range that I wanted, but I didn't know the price, and I didn't want to know anything about them just because I didn't want to be influenced by anything. So I didn't really care what it looked like. I thought even if it's like shining a luminous yellow with bulbs everywhere, but it sounds fantastic, I'm gonna buy it. It doesn't really matter. So, you know, however, I think if you were a beginner and you probably looked at this, you might be put off a little bit. And I think the fact that it's just a satin finish, I don't know how much it would cost for them to make this shiny looking, but I think it would look better if it had more of a varnish finish rather than a satin finish. But I mean, it's just looks, isn't it? I mean, you could paint it pink and it would still sound the same, wouldn't it? So it's still a nice violin for the sound of it. The only other thing that I might do is possibly change the strings, so you've got a different set of strings on there, so either D'Addarios or Dominants or Parastro Tonicas, for example. But I don't actually think this violin needs it, which is really strange. Normally cheaper violins, the first thing I say is, right, let's get a set of Dominants on there to make it sound a bit better, but you don't actually need them. These are actually holding their own. They're doing quite well. However, if you wanted to, it would sound better. Because the violin is so cheap, there isn't a one particular sound that it has. So it doesn't sound bright, it doesn't sound sweet, it doesn't sound mellow, it doesn't sound velvet. It just sounds. So it doesn't have a colour, it doesn't particularly have a flavour, but you wouldn't expect to have that in a $63 violin anyway, or £40 violin. But I think the most important thing is that there is no scratch, it's clear, it's smooth, and it's nice to play on. It's actually not, it's not that bad at all. So that would be the most important thing for me and for a student as well. If this had a lot of scratch on it, then I wouldn't like it, no matter how nice it, I wouldn't like any violin, no matter how nice it, even if it was made of gold, if it had so much scratch on it, because you really don't want any of that. So in conclusion, I guess $63, I think is great. There's nothing wrong with it. Apart from just a few kind of negative personal preferences, but that's all it is, really, personal preferences, I think. So yeah, overall, a great little violin. Just do bear in mind, folks, that it is $63, but if you want to start a violin, you really don't know what to get for $63, this is your guy. So I hope you enjoyed watching this review. I hope it's helped you, and do check out the other reviews that I've got. They're all going to be listed underneath and everything, so have a look at them and check out some of my other videos, subscribe and all that kind of good stuff. And thanks for watching, and I shall see you in the next video.